Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, whichever one it is that you are watching this video. So I hope you all had a fabulous, wonderful 4-day vacation. You got to spend time with family and do things that you enjoy outside because it was absolutely beautiful. And I hope you guys all had fun and were well rested. Well, now it is time to get back to work. We are on day 4 of our module 4 today. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen so we can get started. Make sure, please, that you do have your knowledge and response journal ready to go. Here we go.
Welcome back, powerful thinkers. I'm Sue Sabella, your Great Minds teacher. Let's see what we need for today. Today we'll need the digestive system, your journal, and a pencil. Please pause here to gather what you need and just hit play when you're ready to continue. There are differences between the structure of narrative text and informational text. You know that when you're reading a narrative, you start at the beginning and continue through the middle to the end of a story. But with informational text, it's a bit different. You don't always have to start at the beginning. And we use text features to help guide us as we're answering questions that we might have or as we're conducting shared research. Today, we're going to learn a bit more about text features and how they can help us as readers. As we explore text features more closely today, this focusing question will continue to guide our thinking. Please pause here to read this question to yourself, to think about and remind yourself what nourish means, and then just hit play so we can read the question together.
So the question is, how can food nourish my body? Do you guys remember what the word nourish means? Talk to your learning partner about what the word nourish means.
How can food nourish my body? What is happening in this text? Today, we'll use text features to help us determine or figure out what is happening in the digestive system. I'm going to be asking you to do some pretty powerful thinking. Because you'll be conducting shared research with friends, it's very important to understand the purpose of each text feature. Why is it important and how can it be helpful? That's what purpose means. As we discover the purpose of each text feature, it's also important to jot that down into your journal. I'd like you to create a chart in your journal that has the text features on the left side and space on the right side to write the purpose. Pause here to set up the chart that you'll use to capture the purpose of each text feature. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
Okay, so we are on page 166 and 167 in your knowledge response journal. Your pages should be side by side, like Miss Sabella's show in the video. If it is not and you need to skip a page so that they are side by side, please do that. So we are on page 166 and 167. Please make your pages look like the one that Miss Sabella has on the screen.
Let's begin by taking a closer look at the table of contents in the digestive system. As we think about the purpose of the table of contents, I want you to begin to write down your thinking on the purpose side. You'll follow the arrow straight across, and you'll see that there are 4 lines to jot down your thinking. Plenty of room. Ready? Let's explore the table of contents from the digestive system. I'd like to begin by putting you in charge. I want to invite you to analyze or look closely at the table of contents. Why is it important and how can it be helpful? Pause here to look at the table of contents closely, to do some powerful thinking, and or to chat with a learning partner. What is the purpose of the table of contents? Just hit play when you're ready to continue. Because you're such a careful analyzer and close reader, you probably noticed that the table of contents lists the contents and page numbers for sections of information. Before we move along to the other text features, please feel free to pause here to make sure you have all your thinking down for the table of contents. And remember, your thinking is focused on the purpose of this text feature. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. You have a choice here. If you'd like to continue to complete your chart in your journal completely on your own, you can use the digestive system text on your own along with your journal. And remember, stay focused on the purpose of each text feature. Why is it important and how is it helpful? If you'd like to work on your own, just pause me here. If you're continuing on with me, let's take a closer look at the heading in Chapter 2. What is the purpose of this text feature? Pause here to look closely at the text feature, to read it closely, and also read the text below. Why is this text feature important, and how is it helpful to you as a reader? Chat about this with a learning partner, and pause to jot down your thinking in your journal. Just hit play when you're ready to continue.
So what do you think this text feature is called? What do you think this is? And what is the purpose of that text feature?
A heading provides clues to the reader about the main topics of each section. On page 10, we can see bold words. And on page 46, we see a section called Important Words, which also means glossary. What is the purpose of each text feature? Please pause here to look closely, to read over these 2 pages, and to jot down the purpose for glossary and bold words. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. You might have jotted down that glossary and bold words define keywords in boldface. You also might have jotted down the purpose for each text feature separately. Bold words signal to the reader that these are key words, important words. The glossary arranges the keywords or important words in alphabetical order, and each word has a definition to support you as a reader so you can understand what each word or important word means. Now I'd like to invite you to take a very close look at the images and the captions on these 2 pages. What is the purpose of each text feature? Pause here to read, to study, to think, and to chat about this question. And also be sure to jot down your thinking in your journal next to images and captions. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. Images and captions provide more information in an informational text, and they can also make information more clear to the reader. Now let's take a look at one more text feature. What is the purpose of the index? Pause here to review the index to see where the page numbers in the index go to, and also to jot down your thinking about the purpose of the index. Just hit play when you're ready to continue. The index lists page numbers where keywords are found. Please pause here to check your work. You just want to make sure that you have a purpose for each text feature. Just hit play when you're ready to move on to the next section of our lesson.
Okay, so guys, Miss Isabella just went over every single section of the text features and told you the purpose. So you should have the purpose written on your page 167 for all of these text features. If you do not, you need to go rewind the video all the way back to 419 and listen to it again. And make sure that you have the purpose written down for every text feature.
Pause here to take a stretch break and just hit play when you're ready to continue. How do I collect shared research to answer focusing question task 1? Let's do some shared research together. As I read this section aloud, I'd like you to keep this question in mind. What is one job of the stomach? Ready? Here we go. Don't drink this juice. Your stomach is made of strong muscles. It can stretch to hold about 3 pints, 1.4 liters of food at one time. When food enters your stomach, the muscles squeeze and mash your food into smaller and smaller pieces. I'm going to pause here for a minute to think about what the stomach is doing. It's starting to do a job. The muscles are squeezing that food into smaller and smaller pieces. The cells lining your stomach release a liquid called gastric juice. It contains enzymes and hydrochloric acid. This acid is strong enough to dissolve metal. A mucus lining protects your stomach from the acid. You probably noticed another job that the stomach has. On the lining of the stomach, gastric juices are released into the stomach to help dissolve the food. You also probably noticed something as a reader and a researcher. I'm not reading all of the information all at one time. I'm stopping to think and to act things out so I can better understand what's going on. That's how researchers read informational text. Let's keep reading. Gastric juice begins to break down proteins. Proteins are found in foods such as meat, cheese, and eggs. Food stays in your stomach for 2 to 5 hours. Once it mixes with gastric juice, it is called chyme. The stomach releases chyme into the duodenum. This is the first part of the small intestine. I'm noticing that the information is changing now from talking about what's happening in the stomach and it's moving, the food is moving to the small intestine. So, as a researcher, I am reading to find out what one job is for the stomach. So, I'm going to pause here to draw a picture of the stomach in my journal and to write down one job of the stomach before I continue reading. When I think about this question, what is one job of the stomach? I think about the food going in and how the gastric juices are coming out of the cells in the lining of the stomach. So that makes me write the gastric juices in the stomach break down the proteins. That is just one job of the stomach. There was another job that the stomach had. Please pause here so you can answer this question in your journal. Draw a picture that supports your written response. What is one job of the stomach? Draw your picture. You can even label your picture of the stomach and also jot down a sentence or two that answer this question. Just hit play when you're ready to move on to the small intestine.
Okay, so this part is a little confusing and I wanted to clarify. On page 168 and 169 in your journal, you're going to write what is one job of the stomach. Draw a picture that supports your written response. So whatever job it is that you discovered that the stomach does, you're going to write one or two sentences explaining that and then draw a picture of what the stomach is doing in your written work. Okay? And then we're going to move on to the small intestines. And you're going to do the same thing on page 169. You're going to write and tell me what is one job of the small intestines. Draw a picture that supports your written response. Again, you're going to listen carefully to Miss Sabella reading. You're going to tell me one job of the small intestines and then draw a picture of it. Okay, and guys, I'm not expecting you to be Picasso or Van Gogh. Just do your best, okay? All right, so let's get back to Miss Sabella reading about the small intestines.
There's a check mark in the corner, and you know what that means. Your teacher will take this opportunity to check in with you. The directions here say sketch the stomach and small intestine. You're already halfway done because you've already sketched the stomach. The next sentence says write one job each organ does as part of the digestive system. Again, you're already halfway done because you wrote down one job that the stomach has. As I read this section aloud about the small intestine, I'd like you to pause me as often as you need to so you can think about what's happening to the food in the small intestine. You might axe some parts out with your hand and begin to draw the small intestine in your journal. All of those things will help you better understand what's happening in the small intestine. And then, as you're done reading and listening and thinking, I also want you to pause the video so you can jot down what is one job that the small intestine has. Just hit play when you're all done and ready to wrap up our video lesson. Ready? Here we go with the reading. It's small, but it's long. The small intestine is where most food leaves your digestive tract and enters your bloodstream. Before this happens, the food is broken down even further. Organs such as your pancreas, gallbladder, and liver help this digestion happen. Your pancreas squirts fluid into the duodenum. This fluid is rich in enzymes that break down fats, proteins, and starches. The fluid also contains a chemical that makes chyme less acidic. It is called sodium bicarbonate. Your gallbladder adds a liquid called bile to the chyme. Bile helps break up blobs of fat so that enzymes can get into it more easily. Bile is made in the liver. It is stored in the gallbladder. The small intestine has many folds. It is lined with millions of finger-shaped bumps called villi. This creates a huge surface area that can absorb large volumes of food quickly. Tiny blood vessels inside the villi absorb the nutrients straight into your bloodstream. Nutrient-rich blood goes from your small intestine to your liver. The liver converts the nutrients into substances needed by the body. It stores some nutrients. It releases them into the blood when they are needed. The liver also breaks down harmful substances such as alcohol. Since you're growing into being such an effective researcher, I bet you paused often so you could even reread or re-listen, or you could start drawing the small intestine so you could really picture what job it was doing. I bet you also noticed as a researcher that some of the information was focused on the question that you were researching, and some of the information was interesting, but it did not apply to the question. And you had to be choosy about the information that went into your journal. You're growing as a researcher, and you should be very proud of yourself. Be sure to hang on to this research because we'll be using it as an example as we work on focusing question task 1. You worked very hard today, and you're growing so much. I hope you're proud of yourself. I'm very proud of you. I will see you soon, my friend.
Okay, so as you know that there could have been more than one job of the stomach that you listed or of the small intestine. So that's why I did not go over all of them because some of you may have different ones. Hold on one second. Okay, so what you were going to do today, you did 4 pages in your journal today. You did pages 166 and 167 about the text features and their purposes. And then you did 168 and 169, one job and an illustration about the stomach and the small intestine. So you're going to take a picture of those 4 pages from your journal today and post them into the Google slide for me. And that's it. That's all your work for today. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will see you later. Bye.